Hello dear viewers, welcome back to the series of lessons on the concept of parts of speech. Here in this lesson we are going to look at the pronouns. I have not included all the pronouns in a single video because that would be confusing and too much to understand. We are going to look at 4 kinds of pronouns in this video. They are going to be personal pronouns, possessive pronouns, reflexive pronouns, and interrogative pronouns. Now before I start explaining you each of these 4 pronouns, let us first look at the definition of the pronoun. A pronoun is a word that replaces the noun. We use pronoun to avoid repetition of the noun in the sentence. We can say that pronouns are the replacement of nouns, or these are the words which can be used instead of the nouns or instead of the names of people, place or things. Why do we need pronouns? We need pronouns to avoid repetition of the noun. If we use nouns too often in our speech or in the written work, it just makes it unnatural and unnecessary. Let me give you an example here. If I write Tom and Sarah work together, Tom is fond of Sarah. Tom and Sarah are friends. If we look at this sentence, we find that we have used noun quite repetitively, and it is making our sentence look unnatural and foolish. We already know that we are talking about Tom and Sarah as we have introduced both the nouns in the first sentence. Tom and Sarah work together. Now we know who we are talking about. We don't have to use the nouns again. So what can we do in such case? We have to use pronouns. What can we write here? Tom and Sarah work together. He is fond of her. And Tom and Sarah are friends. We can write they are friends. I'll write the sentences again using the pronouns. Tom and Sarah work together. He is fond of her. They are friends. Now these sentences look more natural and better compared to the previous sentence. So what are the pronouns in the second sentence? He, her, and they. Hope you have understood the definition of pronouns. Why do we need pronouns? We need pronouns to replace the nouns in order to avoid the repetition of the nouns in a given sentence. Now that we have understood what is a pronoun, let us look at the first kind of pronoun, which is personal pronoun. As the name suggests, personal refers to person. Personal pronouns talk about people. Now the personal pronouns are of 2 kinds: subject personal pronouns and object personal pronouns. I have given in the box here what are subject pronouns and what are object pronouns. Subject pronouns here, as you can see, are I, we, you, he, she, it, they. Object pronouns, on other hand, are me, us, you, him, her, it, them. Now what is a subject pronoun and what is object pronoun? A subject pronoun is a pronoun that comes in the subject's place. A pronoun that comes in the subject's place. If you look at the sentence here, I met John yesterday. So what is a subject pronoun here? I is the subject pronoun because I is the subject of the verb met. Who met John yesterday? I. And I is in the subject's position, hence it is a subject pronoun. Now the subject pronouns replace the nouns which are in subject place. So subject pronouns replace the nouns which are in the subject place. Instead of writing the noun here, we write a pronoun in the position of the subject. Alright, moving on to object pronouns. Now what is an object pronoun? All these are the object pronouns here. Me, us, you, him, her, it, them. When I is placed in the object's position, it becomes me. When we is placed in the object's position, it becomes us. When you is put in the object's position, it remains the same you. When he is placed in the object's position, it becomes him. Similarly, she becomes her, it remains the same. They becomes them. If you look here, an object pronoun is used in the place of the object in the sentence. John saw them yesterday. So John is the subject. John saw who? Them. Them is the object. So we are not writing the noun here. We are replacing the noun by using object pronoun, which is them. So what is an object pronoun? An object pronoun replaces the nouns which are in object's place. I hope you have understood the definitions of subject and object pronouns. The pronoun which comes in the subject's place is called subject pronoun, and the pronoun which comes in the object's place is called object pronoun. Here are the common errors which we make while using the subject and object pronouns. Look at the first situation here. Sarah and Peter work together. We all know that Sarah and Peter work together. Let us imagine that Sarah is saying the same sentence. How will Sarah say the sentence? Will she say, I and Peter work together? Or Peter and I work together? Or me and Peter work together? Or Peter and me work together? So which of the four will she say? In order to understand that, first we need to look at the place of the nouns in the sentence here. What is the place of the nouns Sarah and Peter? Both are nouns, Sarah and Peter. What is the place of these two nouns? They are in the subject position, and hence we need subject pronouns and not object pronouns. Now what are subject pronouns? I, you, he, she, it, they. As Sarah is uttering this sentence, we have to look from her point of view. So what will she say? I and Peter work together? Well, grammatically it is correct. But it is considered more polite if she says, Peter and I work together. Because in English, if you put the other person forward, it is considered more formal and polite. So Peter and I work together is the correct sentence. She cannot say me and Peter work together because me here is not the subject pronoun. We need subject pronouns, not object. This is incorrect. And this is also incorrect. So the correct form of the sentence is Peter and I work together. Who is I here? Sarah. Now this was an example of the subject pronoun. Now let us look at another example of object pronoun here. Let us look at the sentence here. Dad helped Lara and Tom. What is the subject of this sentence? Dad is the subject. Lara and Tom are the objects in the sentence. So these two nouns are placed in the object's position. Let us assume that Lara is saying these sentences. Which of the four will she say? Will she say Dad helped me and Tom? Will she say Dad helped I and Tom? Or Dad helped Tom and I? Or Dad helped Tom and me? Remember, these two nouns are placed in object's position, so we need object pronouns. Object pronouns are me, us, you, him, her, it, them. Since Lara is speaking this sentence, she is an object here, and that is why she uses me. And as it is considered polite if you put the other person first, this answer is considered as correct one because Dad helped Tom and me. You have to put the other person first as it is considered polite. Why they have used me here? Because Lara is in the object's position. She should not write I. I is used only when the noun is in subject's position. As both the nouns here are in object's place, we have used here object pronoun me. Why me? Why not us, you? Because Lara is a speaker and hence she has to say Dad helped Tom and me. I hope you have understood what are subject and object pronouns. Let us look at possessive pronouns now. As the name possessive itself suggests ownership, possessive pronouns talk about ownership or possession. Now they talk about things which belong to a particular person. These pronouns refer to previously named or understood noun, which means we do not use the noun again, or we do not use the name or the object of possession again. We use the possessive pronoun instead of the noun. They stand alone and aren't followed by any other noun. And these possessive pronouns are not followed by nouns again. Look at the example here. I live in an apartment. It is my apartment. In this example, it is clear that I am talking about an apartment which belongs to me, because we already know that this apartment is owned by me. I don't have to say again it is my apartment. What can I say? What can I use instead of apartment here? I can use a pronoun mine. It is mine. These are all the examples of possessive pronouns. Mine, ours, yours, his, hers, its, theirs. If we write this house is ours, it means that we are the owners of this house. We don't have to write this house is our house. We need not repeat the noun again. What can we use instead of this noun? We can use a possessive pronoun ours. This house is ours. Similarly, the pen is hers, and we need not write the pen is her pen. It becomes unnecessary and unwanted. In the second example here, the book on the table is my book. Here we need not repeat the book again because it is already introduced. The noun has already been introduced. We know that we are talking about a book, and to show the possession of that book, I can write this. The book on the table is mine. I don't have to write the book on the table is my book, because I am simply repeating noun once again, which is not necessary. Now, the errors which we make in possessive pronouns is that we use apostrophe with possessive pronouns. Now, when we write this book is hers, we should not write her apostrophe s. This is wrong. You should not write your apostrophe s. This is wrong. You're supposed to write hers, yours, theirs, etc. This is the rule you have to remember with possessive pronouns. I hope you have understood what are possessive pronouns. Possessive pronouns talk about the ownership or possession, and they are used to refer to previously named noun. Let us look at interrogative pronouns. As the name interrogative itself suggests, inquiry or interrogation or question. These are the pronouns which are used to ask a question or to inquire. Interrogative pronouns do what they say. They work in sentences that are posing a question. So we use interrogative pronouns in interrogative sentences. They are used to ask questions or to inquire something. Here are some examples of interrogative pronouns. What are they? What, which, who, and whom. Now I'll show you a couple of examples here and explain you what is the difference between what and which, when to use both, and what is the difference between who and whom, and when to use who and when to use whom. Let us first look at what, the interrogative pronoun what. Now what has a more general meaning. Let us take a situation. Let us assume that you and I went to a restaurant. Okay, and there is a menu on the table. There are 100 plus food items available in the restaurant. So I will ask you, what would you like to have? I am asking this question when the options are numerous, when you have a number of options. I am asking you in general. When the options are numerous, you use what. Hence, what is an interrogative pronoun which is used in the general sense. You use what when the options are numerous and you don't know how many exactly. It is more general. Coming to which is more specific, or we can say it is limited. Let's take the same situation. The waiter comes to us and he says, sorry, it's the closing time. We are left with noodles and sandwiches. He says that it's a closing time and we are left with noodles and sandwiches. So now the option has become limited. Earlier you had 100 plus options, you used what, but now you have just the two options, or the options here are limited. Then I will ask you, which one would you like to have, whether you like to have noodles or sandwiches. Which one would you like to have. So when do you use which? You use which when the options are limited or less in number. What is used in a more general sense when the options are numerous. Alright, hope you have understood the difference between what and which. Let us look at who and whom. Now who is a subject pronoun and whom is object pronoun, which means who comes in the subject's place and whom comes in the object's place. So that who can be I or she or whatever subject pronoun, or whom can be any object pronoun, me or her or them or him, etc. Look at the example here. Sarah went to her friend's house yesterday. Now Sarah is the subject and friend is an object in the sentence. Dash went to her friend's house yesterday. We don't know or we want to ask who went to the friend's house. We use who. In the example here, we know that Sarah is the subject and friend is the object. Sarah went to her friend's house yesterday. Now, in the first situation here, Dash went to her friend's house yesterday. We use who when we don't know who the subject is, when we are not introduced to the subject. Who is used in order to introduce the subject. We don't know who went, and that is why we are using who went to her friend's house yesterday. In the second case, we are not introducing Sarah because we know that Sarah went to meet someone. Now we don't know who that someone is. That is why we write whom here. Whom did Sarah meet yesterday? So who is used to ask about the person or to ask about the subject, and whom is used to ask about the object. I hope you have understood the concept of interrogative pronouns. Let us now look at reflexive pronouns. Now reflexive pronouns are something which reflect back to the subject. The meaning of reflex is to act back. That is why we use self with the pronoun, because it is acting back again on the subject or reflecting back to the subject. Reflexive pronouns are used when the subject and object are the same. Here in this sentence, I talk to myself. I is the subject, and whom do I talk? Myself. Hence, subject is the same and object is also the same. In such cases, you use reflexive pronouns. To understand better, let me give you another example. I looked at myself in the mirror. Who did I see in the mirror? Myself. So who is the subject? I is the subject and myself is the object. Here the subject and object both are the same. The action or the verb of looking is reflecting back to the subject. Alright. And these are the reflexive pronouns here. Myself, yourself, himself, herself, itself, ourselves, yourselves, themselves. He speaks to himself. She enjoys herself. All these are reflexive pronouns. If we look at the examples here, I have given 4 sentences, out of which 2 of them are correct and the other 2 are incorrect. Look at the first sentence. We are going to decorate the room by ourselves. We are going to decorate the room by ourselves. Which one of the 2 is correct? We is the subject and the object is ourselves. Since we is plural, we are supposed to use the reflexive pronoun in plural. There is no such word as ourself. This is wrong. I've given to confuse you. So ourselves. This is the correct answer. We are going to decorate the room by ourselves. We is the subject and ourselves is the object. The thief put himself in trouble. What is the subject here? Thief. And himself is the object. The thief put himself in trouble is the correct sentence, and not thief put his self in trouble. His self is wrong. So remember, myself, yourself, himself, herself, itself, ourselves, yourselves, themselves. What are reflexive pronouns? The pronouns which reflect back to the subject are known as reflexive pronouns, or these are used when the subject and object both are same. I hope this lesson on pronouns was useful and easy to understand. In the next video, we shall look at the other pronouns. Until then, take care, be safe, and goodbye.